And who was the first person to attend One Step?
Me.
Oh, you.
Me. No, me.
You were number one.
What it did.
When Dylan was about to graduate from high school, she was 18, so she still had a few more years to go. And we started to explore what programs would be there for her after high school. There wasn't much opportunity for Dylan post-high school. Most of the programs were kind of no thought about personal developmental growth. So came back home and I was talking to Joe and he said, well, I've got a grant for you and you can start a program.
I just wanted to be helpful, and I knew she was struggling a little bit with the idea that, can I really do this? And I don't have any means whatsoever, and so I found a grant for her. And before you know it, there were 3 or 4 participants milling around in our living room, and I thought, oh, what have I done?
She said, I want to start something in which I don't want them to be like institutionalized. It should be like a home. It should be where they come and they feel safe. They can just lounge around on the couch and watch TV and chat with each other and have like a home environment. She always emphasized on that.
My mom, regardless of her teaching career, knew that it was time to make a change for her, for my sister, and I don't think we realized how much it would impact the rest of the family at that time. But now looking back, yeah, pretty big impact.
The first house that we started in on McCrae, which was on the other side of the block from Mimi's house. It was coming in the next day after the first day of program and how excited everybody was to do it all over again.
The early days, I think back to 2004 and 5, we were trying to build that vision. I was focused on the culinary side of it, but we were all wearing, different hats, and all the things that, this gigantic organization now does administratively were being done, on a much smaller scale.
And so when I first walked through that door, it was just excitement and joy and smiles and just so welcoming. And I knew that One Step was so special and that I was in the right place and I was going to be here for a very long time. I don't think I ever remember walking through that house and not getting like that instant surge of like, fun. This is fun.
Like you come to work, you work, right? But when you go home, you have a sense of, you feel good about yourself, that you've done something good.
It really was the sense of going to bed every night and waking up every morning with a genuine smile, knowing that you actually are doing something good for the world and making the world a better place. And that's invaluable.
The whole culture of those early days was such that it was more focused on making sure that we serve the needs of our mission. That was one thing I always wanted us to understand, was that, we're here for the mission and not for ourselves.
The mission of our organization is to provide spaces of happiness and joy. There are still situations in this community where the people we work with are not treated fairly, are not given the opportunity that you and I would have. And it's just those times where you realize, I think we all at times don't really realize how lucky we are.
It grew the way it did just because of need. I mean, there are worthwhile programs out there, I know, but there's nothing like One Step. And the parents recognize this, and the participants recognize it, and they want to be in it. That's why it's grown so fast. It's just a tremendous need.
We have 4 campuses right now in Arizona, 2 campuses in California. We want to add more, and it's still not enough. There's always more to do.
Already people are mimicking the model of what we do, right? And so we look like the powerhouse that we are when it comes to supporting the individuals that we get the opportunity to support.
So for me, it's not about just providing opportunity, but bringing them up to the level that everyone else is at, and then growing beyond that as well.
It started very small back then, and we have just grown so much bigger than I ever thought we would.
If this is the best program for people with disability, then we have a moral imperative to make it available to as many as we possibly can.
So 20 years later to present, I think it's really important to recognize and remember the huge amount of impact that One Step has had over that relatively short amount of time. Going from one member, our first member Dylan, to 700 members, that is absolutely amazing. The need that we service is so incredibly important. And to be able to have done that for so many people for such a long period of time so successfully is just, it's massive.
Can you imagine that if everybody in the community had experiences like me, that they would just want to move society forward and do more and, you know, be nicer to each other, if you will?
It's a program that was started by a family, and it's operated by families, and it's in the service of families.
I love my family a lot.